Good morning. Welcome back to the channel, Grand Colombia. Welcome to Coffee Time Live here in Armenia, Colombia. Mora, my morning blackberry juice. Had a great coffee this morning. Okay, what do we got? Oh, I got to start off. I'm going to break the mold here. I'm going to do something courageous and adventurous. Today, I'm going to tell you what my adverbs are. My adverbs are abnormally, unexpectedly, and nicely. Ha! Okay. First, I want to talk about the protest. But first, before the first, the pre-first. Yeah, we can have a pre-first. I want to mention that I got two $10 contributions last night. There's one of them coming up, and two this morning, and there's one of those coming up. No sound in my intro. You have no sound? Or no music on when the coffee beans are showing? I'm confused. Okay. Where was I? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So each of those sent in two before this broadcast for Alejandra and for me, and I want to thank you for that and recognize that you did that. And we've got Phil, good morning. Rob, good afternoon. No, it's still good morning for me. We don't do silly things like change the clocks around, we stick with our reality. Greetings from Finland. You're just helping out all those people who go, where's Helsinki? Iceland, right? Mike, good morning. First question, what's the deal on the property? Suspense. Well, no, not the first question. Good morning. Don't like DST. I don't know what DST is, but I get to be there this time. Hello from Indy. Howdy, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Right, no music when coffee beans. Okay, I'll look into that, see what's going on with it. I get it on my end, but I'm sure that's a setting, and I'll take care of that. NB90. Good morning, haha. Alejandro's buenos. Sherry, daylight savings time. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, see, it's been so long. Helsinki, capital of Finland. Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, all you daylight savings time people, I've been away for a long time, so, some things you just got to put out of your brain. So back on the protest called Paro. Didn't happen, which is it's really kind of blown me away because it's always been an excuse for a social thing. Now last year, you had those people infiltrating and it got kind of ugly. Even here, we had a moment of ugliness when the infiltrators tried to firebomb that police station, but they were caught and everything went back to normal. But we didn't have what happened last year, and I'm not sure why. I've asked a couple people what do they think, and people here don't really know why. Apparently, I've got don't want to report. A report. Don't want to repeat of what happened last time. Okay, maybe. Just happy to be back to normal. No restrictions, etc. And it could be, or, and this is the one I think is probably the most likely, too much rain. Now, the good news is the past handful of days, we're back to normal and we're having warm days and rain sprinkled around here and there, mostly afternoon or evening, and it's pretty nice. But we've had a lot of rain, crazy amount of rain, an unusual amount of rain when it's not supposed to be raining so much. And that could be because, you know, when it rains here, people act like it's an ice storm when it's raining. You have a lot of people here that don't want to go out, and that might have something to do with it. Al, buenos dias. Yeah, over in 360 where I should be living. HD, buenos dias. And thank you, I appreciate that. Mr. HD Chillin. Good morning. I am Millard from Houston. And Adela, my wife. Howdy. Haven't seen you before, so welcome to Coffee Time. Coffee Time, where I drink blackberry juice. Okay. Now, while we didn't really have protests, you can kind of, sort of say we had a little one yesterday. A little one. Let me show you. And it's a sad situation, but let me show you this little video here. You see, there's probably not more than 20 or 30 people. Oh, you notice the short red hair with the pincushion? We have them here also, just so you know. It's a very small group, but sadly, what happened, there was a University of Quindío student, 20-year-old girl named Jenny, very, very pretty girl, who was found dead near Calarca, stabbed a number of times. And it's under investigation. There's some theories about it. Maybe she was, sexually assaulted, but the investigation isn't done, and honestly, nobody really knows yet. And this is a group of students. I don't know exactly what they're protesting, except, their unhappiness with what happened, obviously. So, there's that. Doesn't really count as the protest that, happens once a year. Now, today, right now, the polls are open and it's voting time across the country, including here in Armenia. We have a pretty strong presence to keep the peace. And so far, best I can tell, it's been pretty chill, nothing really happening. There was something that popped up day before yesterday that was kind of interesting. At first, I thought, coming out a day or two before the election, maybe this is just some political hit job. But then I looked into it, and this has actually been going on for a while. It's just a newspaper, you put it out, and it's looking pretty legit. So what am I talking about? There's a liberal candidate. I got his picture here. It's a guy. His name is Mario. What is it? I think it's Castagna. Oh, and obviously he must be a white supremacist. This guy, he's the liberal candidate, not quite socialist, but he's a liberal candidate. And he's been under investigation for a while now. He turns out, apparently, allegedly, he is the leader of a group of criminals in government. And he was found promising promotions and money to prosecutors. It's not just Armenia, but in Colombia, prosecutors who would publicly support him. And I believe that's where this whole racket that he operates was discovered, because everybody isn't willing to be corrupt. And so they've been doing an investigation on this, and it turns out that it's actually a political criminal group which he's a leader of, that has this thing going on where they assign jobs through their government ability, not like the guy in Calarca who was just doing his family members and getting kickbacks on that. But this is on a countrywide scale where politically they would assign jobs to people, and through that mechanism would actually embezzle money out of the government. And forget the amount now. It was a huge amount, millions of dollars. And it's been going on for at least a year or two, since, I believe, since COVID. But again, it's under investigation, and so there's more details to come out of that. It's pretty sick. And here's a guy, he's running for election. So I don't know, we'll see. The presidential election takes place in May. And nationally, the criminal socialist Petro is leading in the polls. In Quindío, he is not. He is not leading in the polls. So I don't know. It's there's no way to predict it at this point. It's unfortunate, but the more young people that come into the voting stream, the more they've been affected by the propaganda that's been taking place in the schools and in social media and other places, the more they're inclined to think that this guy who is a murderer and a criminal is misunderstood, and he's actually, the savior of the country. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I've been asked, are you gonna move if he's elected? No, because first of all, sometimes when people like this get into office, they do not continue with how they've been. For example, the guy in a wheelchair in Ecuador, when he got into office, he was a self-professed socialist. But when he got into office, it turned out that his desire to save Ecuador superseded his desire to be socialist. And he implemented a number of things that brought Ecuador back from the brink that you would say were absolutely conservative and capitalistic. So you never know until somebody's actually in there how it's going to turn out. And then even, let's say he gets in there and he marches full steam ahead. He only gets a 4-year term. That's how it is now in Colombia. And it would take a couple years to have any great effect on. And I probably shouldn't say that, because in the US, I mean, you had less than a year to have everything kind of turn upside down. But yeah, I'm looking at it say, okay, let's say a year to 2 years before things start taking effect. And I think he'll be walking a tightrope, because people will quickly find out that all the things that he talked about are not what they're going to be seeing. And you might see those protests kind of kick in. There's nothing worse than a populace scorned. So I don't know. We'll see. It's all speculation. Nobody knows. I see people, in social media definitively saying this, and it's like they know, and you don't know. You don't know. Mr. Mike Jarvis from the south of Armenius. Good morning. How you doing? Sounds like the U.S. government. Well, sounds like governments. Coleman. Hello from Rio Negro. Nice area. Nice place, nice area. Too bad it's so close to Medellin, but it is a nice area, and I can understand how some people are attracted to that area. The downside is it's known now. It's no longer the secret that it once was, and people are kind of flooding in there. And so all the reasons that people now don't want to live in various places in and around Medellin, because of how they were changed, it's happening there also. Fantastic golf course. Yeah, that's keeping you there for the golf course. Yeah, Colombia has some really nice golf courses, and yeah, that's one of them. Very picturesque. All right, what do we got? I think that's all the pertinent topics I had, and so we're going to go right to
it's Q questions. Remember, 4 question marks first, then ask the question.
Okay, so if you got questions, start throwing them out there. It won't break my heart if we shut down a little early today. I got a lot to do, but I'll go as long as you want me to go. So yeah, traffic here is pretty heavy. Yeah, just a few years ago it wasn't. So, you know, there you go. I do have something I would talk about. I hesitate because I don't do this channel to throw stones at anybody. So I'll be vague about it. But I've had 3 people now send me a copy of this article online about Armenia. And all I can tell you is if you read the article, it becomes clear within the first minute or 2 of reading that this is a bogus article because it contradicts itself a number of times. It says something in the beginning about Armenia, it's too small and there's no room for growth, but you have these skyscrapers all over the place, and they're building these skyscrapers because there's room to grow up, but there's no room to grow out. Well, anybody that's been to Armenia knows that that's crazy. You know, there's nothing but country surrounding Armenia, and with the exception of the side towards Kalarka, the rest of it's all wide open. You know, you've seen videos of me driving around on some of those roads, and there's plenty of room. Plus, in Armenia itself, we have these massive forest to green areas, particularly in the south, but also in the north, where you could put up a zillion high-rises or whatever you want to put up. So, you know, and then it just makes all of these bogus claims that are contradictory. I just want you to understand this. The person who wrote that article has a vested interest in driving people somewhat to Pineda, but mostly to Manizales. Look, I got no problem with business. I have no problem with people making money. What I have a problem with is when people are lying, if they're deceitful in order to do it. That's what you got here. Somebody that took their position and decided to do a hit job on Armenia to try to get people to go to Manizales. And it's really kind of silly. People should go where they want to go, and they should look at whatever it is they want to look at. When I do this channel, I could care less if you come to Armenia. I mean, I'm not trying to bring people here. I'm talking about me. You know, this is my life. This is my experience. And I've said many, many times that Manizales is actually a superior city in most ways. And most people, I think, would actually prefer Manizales. You know, so, I mean, that's the kind of thing that should be put out there for people. You don't have to come up. I mean, it would be silly, right? If I decide one day, oh, there's too many people going to Manizales, so I want to make more money, so I'm going to try to drive them to me. So I'm going to do a hit job, and I'm just going to lie all over the place about what Manizales is, because people that don't know will read that and they'll gravitate towards me because I'm the one that put out that information. Look, I got into doing these videos to begin with because of all the crap that's out there on the internet about how perfect and wonderful Ecuador and Cuenca is. And while it's a good place, and I think a lot of people could be very happy there, what was on the internet was just crap. It just wasn't true. It was just completely misrepresented. And now we got an article here that's completely misrepresenting what Armenia is. I'm not even sure this person's ever even been to Armenia, because when you read the article, you think, where the hell are they talking about? That's not here. Granted, there's not a whole lot of nightlife here, but you don't have to go to bed at 6 o'clock, be retired at 6 o'clock in order to appreciate Armenia. There is a nightlife here. And most of my viewers, the guy Marshall. Well, when he was here at the time, when he was living here for a number of months and he was teaching English, and he had some very interesting videos, he was 26 at the time. And his favorite place in Colombia was Armenia. And, like I say, he lived here for a number of months. He wasn't retired, and he does a lot of nightlifing. So, and this was after he had already been to Cartagena and Medellin, and, he came here and just saw that there was something special about it. So, write all the articles you want, but be honest about them. And if you don't know about a place, don't write the article. And you're just kind of making a fool out of yourself when you write an article pushing people to you. A lot of people can see through that, so I think ultimately you're hurting yourself in your business when you do things like that. Okay. I just purchased a finca near Manizales. Good luck with it. I wish you well. I've got somebody I know that's got a pretty big operation there. We like Armenia. We want to move from Houston to Armenia. No, sorry, no more gringos. Mike, if you ever visited Armenia and experienced its outlying areas within city limits firsthand, you would quickly notice that there's plenty of room to know. Yeah, that article is full of a lot of silly things, but that was maybe one of the most ridiculous things that was written about. And there was quite a bit of a number of words applied to that weird concept about there's no room for Armenia to grow and the growth is stagnant. And you look around the city and you see all these buildings going up, and it's always like that. Armenia's always growing. And I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I wish, if it were me, it wouldn't grow at all. It would just stay the way it is. But that's not what happens. That's not how things work in this world. And, people can like what they want to like. There's a lot of people that like Pereira, live in Pereira. My feelings, I'm not a fan of it, but, I recognize that there's beautiful areas. When I went back and I did some videos to try to lend context to my disdain of Pereira, I always make clear that my problem with Pereira is more to do with my life experience 20 years ago when I lived there. And the vibes of that time never left me. Now, it is hotter, particularly of those three cities. It's certainly the hottest of them. I just find it kind of uncomfortable walking around there, and that's a truth. But there's some great places in Pereira. So, it's all three cities, Pereira, Manizales, and Armenia, are beautiful. I honestly think Manizales is not only the best city, but it's the most beautiful of them all, just because of the way it's pictured and framed. It's like, I've said this so many times. I like Armenia again because of some history that I have with Armenia. But beyond that, I love the fact that we're kind of intertwined with nature. More so than Pereira, you feel like you're just in a big city. In Manizales, you don't really feel that way because you're on a mountain or a number of mountain peaks. But it's kind of different. In Armenia, you're in a city that doesn't, it feels more like a town. Plus, the people here in Armenia are just the best people in the country. I mean, there's no way around that. Thank you, Lauren, to bring me here. I don't bring people here. Armenia, this is a paradise. Anything you want, you can get it here. That's true. Chris, good morning. How you doing? ENB, I need to visit Manizales more often. Pereira reminded me of my hometown back home, very urban. Yeah, if you haven't been to Manizales, you've got to check it out. It's my favorite city. I don't think Armenia is a good-looking city. It's kind of a jumbled mess, but I prefer living here because there's more to life than, you know, scenery is a wonderful thing. Everybody that comes down here, it seems like they want to get a high rise that's got a view of the mountains. And you know, I get that. But there's other considerations. For example, if you're on the side of a building that has a view of the mountains, you're cutting off that perpetual breeze that makes the climate so wonderful, particularly when you're in a high rise. So you give up something that's pretty awesome, a nice view. But the thing is, almost every time you step out your door, you're going to have this beautiful view of the mountains. And I'm not saying it gets old, but it does kind of, you do kind of get, I mean, yeah, it's gorgeous. You know, what can you say? It's gorgeous. But you don't really, I would take the breeze any day. You know, at first it seems, yeah, I want to get my coffee, sit there and look at those mountains, but the breeze is far more important. That affects your, you know, quality of life. Now in 360, one of the things I liked about it was kind of on an angle. So I got mountains over here and I could see Armenia here and I could see the river down at my feet and I was getting all this breeze and it was perfect. And it's the number one reason I loved living there. And I've been offered other apartments that no, it has to be an apartment in that particular situation because that has so much to do with why I love living there. What do you think about Afroqua's latest video, gas cheaper than water? Well, it was true. It isn't now, but it was true. I'm aware of this. You would see this all along the border of Venezuela. Cucuta was the same way. Gasoline in Venezuela, the gas company that existed pre-Chavez and after Chavez or during Chavez was a really strong industry. But it began deteriorating because the jobs of the professionals that ran were given to political cronies. And so the skill level kind of over time disappeared. And you had people in there that were just there for the money and not only didn't really care about it, but didn't know what they were doing. And that's why the oil industry in Venezuela is crumbled. I mean, the infrastructure is about gone. Most things don't even function. I was laughing when it said, well, Biden's talking to Venezuelan because he wants to get oil out of there. Well, you're going to have to go in and do a heck of a lot of investment and rebuilding in order for that to happen because they're not equipped to do what they once did. But back when that was going on, when you had the political cronies in there, but the refineries and everything was still functioning, that gas was being stolen by people. You know, corruption breeds corruption. When you see it at the top, you no longer care. And so people were stealing gas by the truckloads, and they were taking them and selling them across the border. Well, they had virtually no money in it, so they're selling it for under $1 a gallon. Well, you know, gas is cheap in Colombia, but it's not that cheap. And so you had these people that would meet up with them at the border. They would buy truckloads. Sometimes they would just buy 5-gallon cans of it. They would bring it across, and then they would proceed to begin selling it. And this little town is right there where this was like one of the main routes where this would happen. And that town had everybody in it selling gasoline in these plastic jugs, and she was talking about how every house had gasoline in it, and it was a disaster waiting to happen. That's a historical truth. It went away when Venezuela no longer had a viable industry. So if you didn't know that that's what's happened in Venezuela, check it out. I'm not making it up. Okay, where are we? What do you think about our video? Passed by it for a short time, coming back. Long way from Medellin. I watched a show for 8 months, and I learned Armenia Street even before I got here. Thank you, Lauren. No problem. You're welcome. For me, Manizales looked the prettiest I have to agree. It is. The only downside, the reason I didn't want to stay living there, because I lived there for a while. I didn't want to stay living there, was I already knew what it was like in Armenia. And while the people are very nice in Manizales, they're very formal and it's kind of cliquish. And it's just not as comfortable for me. There's more than scenery, and there's more than, buildings, and there's more than that where you live. How are you? I've been there 1 month. Would try to see you, but it's impossible. Recorded very nice videos. It's not impossible to see me, but sometimes I get busy. And if you're coming to Armenia, my suggestion is, if you want to meet up for some reason, you give me a heads up ahead of time. The way it typically will go is, tell me a month or two before, and then about 2 weeks to remind me before you get here. Especially if you're hiring me for something, you want me to pick you up at the airport or whatever, because as you know, I have to use rental cars right now. I have to reserve them ahead of time. So, if it's a last minute thing, there's a good chance I won't be able to put it together for you. We are looking for upscale apartments similar to where we're staying at Emil's. Any suggestions? Talk to Alejandra. She's pretty good at that. She can help you with it. She doesn't charge very much to spend her days hoofing it. She'll actually, your best deals are usually found by actually walking the barrios and looking for the signs and going in and talk to the security people. It takes time and effort, but she'll do that, and she can negotiate. She can do all those things for you. I suggest you do that because it's kind of tiresome and tedious doing it, because I do it, and your life kind of gets put on hold as you're going through that. So now water is cheaper than gasoline. Yeah, now that's the case there, because that situation that was going on, it's changed now. I'm sure there's still some gasoline coming across the border, but it's not like it was. It would be very limited. Somebody asked at the beginning about the villa, the resort, what's going on with it. I'm kind of stalled. I'm not sure. Something came up that could be a deal breaker, but I'm not sure on it. So, I came real close to saying yes, and then I had to say, well, maybe no. So I don't know, but it has occurred to me that one of the things I should be prioritizing, I really should be moving to the top of the list, is just kind of face the music on the car situation and how that blew up in my face, and apply myself to saving and buying another car. But I came up with a pretty good idea on that. Here I've got this car that I can't put on the road because of the legal situation. But I've got new tires and new brakes and it's got, I mean, mechanically this thing is super. It's got a great engine in it. They have cars pretty much the same from 2002 to 2008. That car was made in right here in Colombia, and there's some really nice ones out there, and they're pretty reasonable price because, you know, being that old, they're older style. And so if I got one of those, I would have my own parts bin. So if anything came up, I'd be making use of it. Plus I could put those beautiful seats in the other car. So instead of it being just a dead waste, it's a way I could get my money back out of that one. So whether I go out to the resort or stay here, either way, I need to do something with a car because the rentals are, I'm being honest, they're kind of killing me. You know, it's like, you know, I tell you, it's like I'm charging you way too much money. Well, part of the reason of that is because the rentals are charging me way too much money. A big chunk of what you give me when you come here actually goes off, you know, for the rental cars and related expenses. So I probably should do something about that. So that's probably going to move up on my priority. Just missed out on a beautiful apartment in Oreb. I love that building. I've said before, it's one of my favorite places, but whenever I'm ready to get a place, there's never anything available. They're not available very much. There's not that many. They're actually rentable. Most of them, as in all buildings, they're by owners, but you've got a greater percentage of people that actually live there, where a lot of them, these buildings, they buy them so that in 10 years when they retire, they have it, and so they'll put it up as a rental. Hello from Miami, Florida. It's cool today. Well, that's good. I'm not a fan of hot and muggy. Okay, and outside of going to Disney World, I've never really cared for Florida that much. Love me some Disney World though. I don't know. I was married twice, as you guys know. My first marriage, we had the wedding in Winter Park, Florida, and we had our honeymoon for several weeks in Disney World. I used to have seasons passes to Disney World and go at least a couple times a year. That was back when I was a wealthy person, and you know, it's got to know all the stewardesses on Delta. Okay, we got any other questions? So we don't ramble on. Anything? Anyone? Anyone? Well, I know there's people watching, so they talked about that. I talked about that. Emil's apartment. I think it's rented until April 8th, and after that, in June when he returns. So I think it's open for like a month and a half. Let me run you this clip. And if are interested, there's my email. Send me an email. And what I'll do is I'll hook you up with his WhatsApp so you can work it out with him directly. I'm not a middleman on this. I don't want to be a middleman on anything, but I'll pass that along and then you guys can talk. Oh, I do want to mention, I took on this affiliate agreement with the Travelers Insurance, Hey Mondo, and a number of you guys have gotten it for your trips. And I know that if you use that link that's in the description, there's like a 10% discount. The feedback I've gotten has been pretty good so far. I haven't heard anything negative, but they send me a check, like a commission check every month. And I just got one for a couple $100. There was, I think, 6 policies sold. So that's pretty awesome. And that's a couple $100 I actually wasn't expecting. And that's going into the car fund. Because I got to come up with about 12 to 14 million pesos, for that. So that's going right into the car fund. So I understand if you're looking for long-term travel, there's probably some better ones out there. But if you're looking for short-term travel, or you need the insurance for the visa until you can get your schedule and switch over, this is kind of designed that way, and so it's a good one. So there's that. All right, best neighborhood in Manizales. I would say almost everything along 23. Carrera 23, all along there. I loved the location of living there. It's very convenient. You can walk forever, and you're not going up and down the mountains because it's along the top ridge of the mountain. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe more shopping malls. It's a pretty awesome place. If you're living on the east end, that's where all the restaurants are. And there's a nice mall. There's a lot of nice things in that area. What is it, like Cable area, I think it's called? I don't remember now. I used to walk down there from where I lived. I lived about midpoint. I lived right near the Catholic University, literally next door to it. And so that's kind of midpoint. But most anywhere along there, it's pretty awesome. I will say the Alta Suiza area is actually an old neighborhood, and it kind of sets down, but it's a fascinating neighborhood. I really liked it. I spent some time down there, and normally, it's just neighborhood. Why you spend time? It was a neighborhood that had a lot of character. It was very interesting. It had a lot of interesting night places. Now, I'm not a nightlife kind of guy, but it had places that weren't large groups of people, and they weren't in there to get drunk, but they were in there having conversations, playing chess. Maybe somebody was playing the guitar. It was kind of a homey feel. It was a community place. It wasn't for everybody knew everybody. Hey, Norm, it was, and there were a number of places like that. I found that to be maybe the most interesting traditional neighborhood I've ever been to in Colombia. So there's that. But to live, I would live along 23 just about anywhere. I was born in Colombia, thinking about returning. Haven't been there in 53 years. I can't imagine how much it would change for you, because I was here 20 years ago and came back, and it's a world of difference for me. Chicago, it sucks. Well, the bright side is you would be leaving one of the most dangerous places on the planet and coming to one of the safer places on the planet. How ironic. Okay, what do we got? How much is it for health insurance? It covers mostly everything. My husband and I are going to see Armenia for 9 days. Just go to the link, click on it, and check it out, because it depends on your situation. So, take a look at it. I'm not an expert at it. I did some research originally to see if I actually wanted to be part of it. Everything I saw was positive. I wrote to 2 people that had used it previously, got great feedback, and then I decided to go ahead and take them on. And now, since I've had them for about 2 months, it's been going real well. And anytime somebody can get a discount and I can get the equivalent, I'm all for it. Thanks. We'll make sure to visit that part of Manizales. Yeah, it's the best part. If you're up for walking, my suggestion is start down at the Cable end and then walk west and walk all the way to Chipre Park, Parque Chipre, which is it's the Founders Park, which is awesome. You'll fall in love with the city just on that walk, but I warn you, that is a long walk. But that's a good thing, because if you live there and you walk every day, you'll be able to see then how much you won't want to do that walk every day unless you're tuning it up for a marathon or something. I mean, I used to walk it once in a while, but it's an effort. Thanks. We'll make sure. No, I agree, Lauren. 23 and Alto's. So yeah, a lot of Manizales I could care less about. Every city, it's got its awesome places, and it's got its okay places, it's got its crap places. Manizales is no different. Armenia, every city's like that. And there's places in Manizales, it's like, you do not go. I had people there that I knew that would point out, say, see this area? You never want to go to that barrio. You may not come out. Okay, but the places that are awesome are awesome. Okay. Hi there. Can you talk of your experience in registration as a driver in the runt system? It's easy to register. There's not really much talk about it. I did do a video a year or so ago. When I did it, I've got some video shots in there you're not supposed to do, but I did anyway. I had and I won't cover it here because I did a 30-minute video on my private channel about what went wrong on my car and why I can't drive it. And I can attribute it entirely to COVID. Everything got turned upside down, and by the time everything got straightened out, I could not take care of getting it registered. It's just not possible. And so I'm stuck with a car that I paid for and put all this money in, preparing while it's in COVID, couldn't use it, prepared. And now I can't put insurance on it and drive it. But the chances of what happened to me of reoccurring are slim to none. I just got really lucky, I guess. But as far as signing up for Runt, you just go there and you sign up. It's not a big deal. I'm 55, waiting for the wife to retire at the end of the year. Where is the Hey Mondo link? It's in the description below this video. So if you go and click and open up that description, there's a link in there. And if for some reason you don't see it, shoot me off an email and I'll send it to you. But I know it's there. Somebody told me, well, I went there and it's not there. So after I was, done with what I was doing, I went, I looked, it was there. It's there. I don't know what to tell you. But let me try to do this. Hold on here. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to see if I can help you out here. I think it actually comes up in one of these Stream Elements bots. Okay. Here we are. Don't they say the last thing you want to have is dead air? You know, I kind of apologize for that, but yeah, I can't do it from here. It's arguing with me. So send me an email and I'll send you the link. Sorry about that. We will be meeting soon. Do I know? Like I said, sometimes I get busy. I'm just one person, but thank you so much for all your videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the comments, and it's gratifying to know that they're helpful. And I want you to know I really do my best to be honest about everything I talk about. But I'm human, and my opinions and my viewpoints and my experiences are always going to skew things a little bit. But from my point of view, I'm always being honest about it. It's funny, but people want to say, no, you're wrong. Well, I can't be wrong because that's how I'm seeing it. You might see it differently. It's not a matter of right or wrong. You know, it's like we all have our opinions about things, and but I give you my honest opinion, whether it's good for me or not. I've got an issue about it's difficult for me to be deceptive. Let me put it that way. Yeah, I even told you this wasn't coffee. Well, can't show you. I'm almost down. Blackberry juice. All right. We got anything else? We're coming up on an hour, so I'll give you a last call. I will make sure that Alejandra gets that. It's very helpful right now. I know there's some people here that are hiring her day by day, and that's keeping her afloat, keeping her going. Because until the inflation settles down and she can raise her prices and people still buy her pizzas, she just can't do it. She's buying the stuff. She was buying it at too high a price. Everything that she would sell, it would break even or lose money depending on at what point. And then stuff was going bad and she was having to throw it away. And then, you know, it just wasn't viable. And it really sucks because it was kind of her dream, and she put a lot of time and effort, and just to watch it kind of taken away from her. So when you guys hire her up for something, you're not only getting that benefit out of it, but you're also doing good for somebody as well. So I know she's appreciative. She tells me a lot how much she appreciates it. Okay. Streaming, okay. I think we're done. What do you guys think of that little meme there? Yeah, okay. All right, so we're going to end it here. Thank you, as always, for joining up with us. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for the questions, talking to me in chat. I appreciate it. You very often will ask a question other people are wondering about. Somebody came on and asked me what's going on with a villa. I had just got done talking about it, so if you go back and look, you'll see me explain what's going on with that. I hope next time I come around can meet with you in Armenia. I was in Circassia and drove through Armenia briefly. Yeah, Circassia has changed a lot. I used to really like Circasia. I almost moved there, but it's changed a lot. I'm not a fan of Circasia anymore, but I'm still a fan of Calarca. And I could see that. I probably don't talk about it enough. I could see that as a very viable location for people to live. You talk about, I mean, Armenia, this area is probably the best cost of living in Colombia. But between Armenia and Calarca, Calarca is considerably less money to live. They also have some fantastic restaurants over there. I think, well, I probably shouldn't say it this way because it's not necessarily true, but there's some restaurants there that are on par with a couple of the best ones in Armenia. So anyway, love to hear more about your experience in Colombia. I've got almost 700 videos. 200 of them are in Ecuador, and all the rest are here in Colombia. So there's no shortage of my experience and opinions on Colombia. I don't generically love Colombia. It's not my favorite country in the world, although I like Colombia and I'm very appreciative of it, and it's up there. But I love the coffee region, and particularly I love Armenia, and that's why I'm living here. There are places in Colombia I really actually don't like. I don't like Pasto, for example. You might as well be living in Ecuador. I don't like Pasto. I don't like Cali. Cartagena, it's interesting. It's a nice touristy thing. Would never, ever live in Cartagena. So, you know, I can't say like just a blanket thing that, you know, I love Colombia because I don't. But there's a lot of things I love about Colombia. And I think my favorite place on the planet is where I'm living. So there's that. All right. That's it. Let's end it here. I've rambled on long enough. Ciao. See you next Sunday.
Oh.